Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a great Monday. I know it has been a hot minute and a lot's been going on, really behind the scenes. I know I've been kind of quiet on social media and quiet here. I've just honestly been trying to balance out my new part time job at home and just balancing out that with the YouTube channel and the podcast and seeing where my role is and how to balance that out well. And it's been a little bit of a struggle and it's taken a lot longer as things like that typically do to get used to, how the pacing of everything goes. So some days I would work only on the podcast and some days I would only work on my travel agent job and it wasn't going very well. So I just needed to kind of step back and just let myself be a little bit more present at home, doing my homemaker things, being a stay-at-home wife, making sure the house is still staying together and doing my job and doing this. And so it's a lot because I'm pretty much a one-person show here. But thank you for being patient. Thank you for still streaming the podcast episodes, reacting to my polls on Instagram. It's been great, very encouraging, and I'm really excited about where we're going to be taking this podcast essentially. I do see myself possibly, expanding the YouTube channel a little bit more. I really want to do more on the YouTube channel. I know I really haven't done that much on it. I've just kind of uploaded certain podcast episodes to there, but I really want to make that one of my solid platforms as well on top of Instagram. The goal with this is just to have this kind of be a place specifically where women can come and feel like they're welcome, feel like they can ask any questions, nothing is taboo, menstrual cycles, women's health, maternal health, and I'm still learning a lot about maternal health, so I'm still doing research and I don't feel qualified enough to do a whole podcast on maternal health, but I am really excited about just the future and, as I have kids and, sorry, my bangs are getting in my way. As I have kids and as our family grows that, I will be able to share what I'm learning and that's just kind of where I'm at, honestly. This whole podcast, this whole platform, the whole reason I started this is because I'm not claiming to be any sort of expert on the subject. I don't recommend that you come to me for medical advice. I will give you what I think might help, and I can suggest really good clinics. I can suggest doctors for you, but I'm not going to give you a professional medical opinion because I'm not a doctor. I'm a public health educator, but I'm not a doctor. So obviously, being a doctor is not the end all be all. You can absolutely educate yourself, which is what I am a really big proponent of. This podcast, this whole platform, Health and Hot Topics, is meant to be a place where anyone, man or woman, can just learn about their health and the way their body was supposed to be nourished and the best way to take care of their body. And so I'm just here sharing what I learned to help empower anyone who wants to listen and anybody that's interested in, enabling themselves to be better and just needs that extra motivation to do that with a little bit of positivity, not really any judgment. I'm here to encourage. I know that the health and wellness world can be very intimidating to step into. I completely understand that. I understand that people want to avoid sometimes certain labels like crunchy because they feel like they don't fit in that label. They feel like they still have to do certain things, or like, oh, well, I feed my kids goldfish, but, we try and eat organic foods, or we do detox baths, but my kids don't eat snow. And it's just, there's so many things that I feel like moms especially are pressured to do that I think can be toxic themselves, ironically enough. But that's a whole other conversation topic. I just want to say that I am not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I am here to give you information on what things are nourishing for your body, what things are not nourishing for your body, what helps me, what I'm doing, and how to stay healthy, and how to do this with all of the hope and the optimism of a Christian walk and a Christian life. And that's literally my only message. If you take anything else from anything I ever do, that is what I want you to feel like. I want you to feel welcome. I want you to feel positivity. I want you to feel encouraged. And that's what I want you to feel when you come on my YouTube channel and when you come on my Instagram and you see videos. I want you to feel like that is a place where you can ask any question without any judgment and feel like, you know what, if you are doing something with good intention and you are praying and you are seeking the Lord and you are doing your best to provide your family with the best products that you can with the money and the time that you have, then have peace in that. Nobody's ever going to be able to do 100% non-toxic living. Nobody can, no matter what influencer people try and convince you that they are. Nobody is. You literally can't. Even if you completely were able to be a millionaire and have all of the gadgets and eat all of the foods, you still can't escape all of the EMF rays, and you can't escape what other people are doing and the cigarette smoke in the air, and you can't escape that. That's just how this is, because that's a part of the fall. That's a part of the fall when, Adam and Eve sinned and we had this whole problem in this world of sin. We're not going to live in a perfect world. And that's okay. That's okay. That's the whole point of having good news, that Christ has come and he has sanctified us and he has given us righteousness that we may live through him. And that these bodies are not our own, that these bodies are, of this earth. They will not go with us into eternity. And the fact that, some people can get so obsessed with the idea of nourishing the body so much that they almost miss the point of living. And that is not what I want you to feel like. That's not what I want to push on anyone, because it is just as important to realize that, you can get sick. No matter how healthy you eat, you can get sick, and ultimately God decides your fate, whether you get sick or you don't get sick. But guess what? He's a loving God and he has the best interest in heart. And if you're a Christian, you have eternity and you have heaven to look forward to. So I know that was a little bit of a ramble, that was a little bit of a rant, but I don't know, it was just really on my heart today. And I just really wanted to encourage whoever is listening that I am here. I love you. I'm praying for you. I pray for you guys every day. I love my audience. I love my friends. I love everyone that supports me and supports this mission. And thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on this YouTube channel if you're watching. Thank you for listening on Spotify if you're there. Thank you for that. It's really encouraging. I get really excited. We just passed 100 streams on Health and Hot Topics this week, so yay! I literally have no idea if that's good or bad. I'm not really going to try and think about it too much as far as metrics, but I started this podcast in November, and I seem to have a steady stream of listeners that come through, and certain topics are definitely getting streamed faster than others. So my vaccine episode that we did, I'm censoring myself for YouTube sake, but our jab episode that we did is the second highest, other than my pilot episode, is the second highest streamed episode that I have. So that was very clearly one that y'all really wanted to do. And I was really excited because at first I was really nervous to do it. And then I got really excited. And then I poured my absolute heart and soul into that episode. And then I got really scared because the very first week I put it out, maybe one person listened to it. And I got really nervous because I was thinking nobody cares, nobody really wanted this. Maybe I missed something. Maybe the algorithm is just really against me, which I'm now thinking is the point. I think that's what happened because I put it out there and it took a couple weeks, but then traction started to build back up and now it's the second highest streamed episode. So I am really excited about that, and I'm really excited about the new topics that we'll be delving into. I know I've been really harping on women's health for the last few months. I'm sorry, dudes, if you're listening. I'm so sorry. I have a very small margin, like maybe 10% of my listeners are men. So I know they listen. I'm really glad you guys listen. I appreciate it. It's gonna help the women in your life. I promise for you to know these things, but I will get into men's fertility. I'm gonna jump into raw milk this month. We're gonna talk about relationship health because I am happily married. I have a lot of experience being in a healthy, steady relationship, so I just wanted to share what I have learned. We were long distance for 3.5 years, so I can speak into that as well. But all that to say, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. And I feel like I am entering a new chapter in this whole platform. So anyway, that is my whole intro for this. Claire will not be with us this week. She had a lot of big things with her job going on this week. She started a new job, so unfortunately, she will not be ending this embryology series that we have been doing. Parts 1, 2 are already out. So we split the trimesters into episodes. So we focus on the first trimester, the second trimester, and then this one, per the title, is the third trimester. So delving into the third trimester, you will just have me today. Sorry. I know I might not be as fun as Claire, but hopefully you don't mind listening to me if you are listening to this podcast. But I will be referencing my notes a lot. I will admit that my knowledge on fetal health and fetal embryology is not where I want it to be. I have currently been really stacking my reading list this year with preconception health books, which I will go into. Preconception health is extremely important. We're looking to have children in the next coming years. TBD on that. I'm not going to really openly share what our plan is, but we would love to have children in these next few years in the future, God willing. So I am doing extra research that I haven't already done to prepare my body, prepare Nathan's body for that, and to best optimize our bodies and our health. But I do think an episode of preconception health is needed. But all that to say, I'm still learning, and I definitely am not where I could be. So without further ado, let's get into it. The third trimester, we are working at about week 28 to birth. So there's usually about average of 39 weeks in a pregnancy. Lots of women tend to have their pregnancy a little bit longer if it's their first baby, but that's not a hard, steadfast rule. Kind of like throwing up in the first trimester is not a hard, steadfast rule. A lot of people it happens to, but it's not like just because you're not nauseous and vomiting doesn't mean you're not pregnant. You should still take a pregnancy test. So we are looking at fetal movement. The baby's movements are more coordinated and more noticeable. You'll see more kicks as their joints are fully, they're developing more. Obviously, their weight is increasing. The baby is getting bigger. We are seeing organs like the lungs, digestive system, and kidneys are continuing to mature. And the CNS, the central nervous system, the brain is continuing to develop and the fetus starts responding to sounds and light. Have you guys seen those videos where people put the music up to the baby and they see if the baby will react to it, or I'm gonna do this when I have a baby because I'm a huge Swiftie. Deal with it, haters. I'm a huge Swiftie. I'm gonna definitely have my baby listen to Taylor Swift. If it's a boy, I feel like guys that really, I'm not saying that guys that like Taylor Swift are effeminate, but if you're really, really into Taylor Swift, you show up to the concerts alone as a guy and not as the plus one of a Swiftie. If you're the boyfriend to a girl that's a Swiftie, that's totally different because you're kind of more like the bodyguard at that point. And you can love the jams. I get the guys that like girly pop stuff, and I'm totally into that. It's usually these straightest dudes will jam out to Taylor Swift. That's not the guys I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guys that go to the concerts alone and wear a bunch of stuff. They're a little bit more on the flamboyant side typically. Yeah, my son will not be like that if I have a son. So I'm not as worried about making him a Swiftie. He is going to have to get used to me singing a lot of Taylor Swift as my husband has, but my husband is usually, he doesn't ever complain about it. My husband's really not into Taylor Swift, but he doesn't hate Taylor Swift. And he listens to all my rants and he listens to everything I have to say. But all that to say, when I have a child, I am the queen of sidebars. When I have a child, primarily, she will be listening to Taylor Swift and probably old hymns because that child will not be raised on CCM. Let me tell you that. Well, if he or she is, they will be raised on good CCM. I could do a whole podcast on Christian contemporary music, but most of it is absolute crap, and so much of it is just sensational emotionalism, and I hate it, but it's trendy and it's popular. Yeah. Anyway, so we're looking into the different aspects of the baby as the baby is growing. And I also apologize, I have not prepped for this as much as I could have, so I might be doing a couple different sidebars, but you guys are already used to that. If you're not new to the show, I'm not going to pretend like I'm polished, guys. I'm not Brett Cooper. I don't have the fancy editing studio. It's just me and our side utility room. My husband's workbench is right there. So I'm not a millionaire. I just want to share my thoughts. So I'm not very polished, but maybe you guys like that. Hopefully I will find the audience that likes that if you guys don't like that. We are looking at organ maturation in the third trimester. So during this stage, the fetus is undergoing major changes in its organs. Obviously, did a lot of transitioning in the second trimester, but now in the third trimester, they are doing even more to prepare for the final stages of just embryology and gestation. The lungs are producing surfactant, which is a substance that keeps the air sacs open, which is crucial for breathing outside the womb. Because if you think about it, the baby has only been breathing in fluids, essentially. When it was very, very little, it had these gill-like breathing abilities. But it needs to obviously be prepared to breathe the regular air as it comes out of the body. So surfactant is produced more. The brain goes extensive development with the formation of new brain cells and connections. So this helps the fetus basically kind of prepare for its sensory neuron processing. It's going to be very much into textures. It's going to be feeling everything. It's going to be seeing everything. If you think about it, it's just been sitting in fluid. That's all it knows for the past 9 months. So if when the baby is birthed, it's in the air. That's different. Oh, the hand brushes against a cloth. It brushes against mom's skin. It feels her hair. It feels its own hair. It feels its cheeks. It's going, wow, this is different. So the baby is learning tactile sensations. I nanny a baby part-time, and she is about 7 months old, and she is super into different textures. She will just sit there and feel the wicker basket that holds her toys, and then she'll feel my jeans, and she'll just take her tiny little fingernails and just scratch on the denim, and it's actually really cute. But she just is so fascinated with it. And lots of babies obviously will then put things in their mouth because they're trying to figure out the feels and the textures and see how it works. So the brain is preparing for that with basically forming new brain cells and connections. For the digestive and renal systems, renal area, if you don't know, is the area kind of with your kidneys that's filtering your blood, filtering out toxins. That, along with your liver, also filters out toxins. That is becoming more functional. We already saw that a lot of the urinary process, fecal urinary tract area was starting to move a little bit in the second trimester. So that will become more functional. The kidneys will start to excrete urine. The fetus will also practice kind of more breathing movements, but obviously it will be reliant on the placenta for its oxygen. Mom will still be primary for everything until it is born. The immune system. So the immune system, the baby is receiving antibodies from the mother through the placenta, providing some immunity after birth. And then obviously once the baby is born, people try and keep their distance because the baby's immune system is still building. But once the baby starts to breastfeed, ideally the baby can breastfeed, especially that really beginning part of the breast milk is packed with antibodies, vitamins, all sorts of great nutrients. It is basically the most nutrient dense packed immunity liquid you could have, especially for a baby that is just, they're brand new to this world and they need that. So forget jabbing them with everything. Just let them be breastfed. Give them some space, let them be breastfed, let their immune system naturally develop. Don't jab them. Just don't do it. If you have huge problems or questions about my opinions on jabs or why I have that opinion on jabs, go check out my vaccine episode that I published. It is out on Spotify, is also on YouTube. I'm really surprised it stayed up on YouTube, especially with me not really censoring myself, but it's there. It's on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel. Check under my Health and Hot Topics podcast playlist. We are looking at significant changes to the fetal growth, so brain and lung development. What is the brain doing? So we said it was growing with the sensations for the immune system. It is also growing more rapidly. It forms more complex structures. It can now process sensory information and react to stimuli like sounds and light, which is very interesting to me. Neural connections that are vital for memory and higher cognitive functions are formed. So basically the baby is just processing better, processing more. Have you guys seen that video? I absolutely love it, but it's this ultrasound of this baby in utero and the music is against the womb. And no, it's not even the music is the music is against the womb with the phone or something, and they have it playing, and the baby's hands are clapping to the music. Have you guys seen that? It's so cute. It came out, it went around on Instagram like a few months ago. Sorry, there's like one bang that's just driving me crazy. I thought that video was really cute. Let me know in the comments section if you guys also saw that video, and if you want me to send it to you. Maybe I'll repost it on the Instagram after I publish this episode because it was so cute. And the baby was clapping his hands, and I was like, oh my gosh. Obviously it wasn't on beat, but it was just adorable. The baby was so excited. We are looking at fat accumulation now. Fat accumulation is a crucial aspect of the third trimester. So basically for the baby, this is all about the baby. We'll get into the mom in a minute, but the baby's fat. Fat in itself is an energy reserve, especially for the child. So the fat reserve serves as an energy reserve that will help regulate the baby's temperature after its birth. Thermoregulation obviously keeps it insulated. The baby's probably going to be pretty cold when he is birthed. They are not able to regulate their temperature as effectively as they could when they are fully grown. The differences between the second and third trimesters with embryology is that in the second trimester, this stage kind of focused more on organogenesis, which that just basically means like how the organs were forming, how they were being created, not being, created, but how they were kind of setting themselves apart, getting their functions all together, everything, all the building blocks were being made. And the fetus kind of goes from this almost, let's be honest, alien looking being to like an actual human. They're kind of cuter the later on in gestation they are, let's just say how it is. It kind of freaked me out as a kid because I was like, that baby looks like E.T. My mom said, where do you think they got the idea of E.T. from? E.T. came after ultrasounds. So I don't know if that's a fact, but it was just a funny joke that my mom said. But as we were seeing a rapid growth in size and weight in the second trimester, they are not fully matured quite yet. In the third trimester, everything shifts toward maturation. So everything goes from like, oh, we're just getting started, we're building up, to everything is getting finished up. All the projects are getting completed. The deadline is coming. Baby needs to be ready to go. So cell growth and differentiation continue, but the focus is on specialization. So now we've gotten the basic foundation of these organs made, all the little tiny compartments, essentially, if you will, of these organs and of their systems are being finalized for this. So especially the brain, the lungs, and various other organs. Baby also increases in its size dramatically during this stage. You will also see later in the trimester the baby moves downward, so you might notice that if a woman is pregnant but it looks kind of like the bulge of her womb is lower, that means the baby is kind of moving in that direction to go down. For the nervous system, the brain continues its rapid development of that, particularly in the cerebral cortex, which is responsible for advanced cognitive functions. I do believe that this is frontal cortex. Cerebral is somewhere in the like midsection, I believe. I'm gonna have all the science people come after me because I should definitely know that. I know where the cerebellum is because I have a whole personal story involving that, but the cerebellum is in the back, and the baby becomes more aware of external stimuli, as we noted. So what are some of the different various things we are seeing involving the reflexes of the newborn that we are seeing in the third trimester? Well, I'm so glad you asked. So we are seeing that as the baby develops reflexes, they're kind of sucking and grasping a little bit more. You might see the hands kind of move a little bit in utero. If you're going and getting an ultrasound in those later appointments, then you might see the baby's hands move more. The baby might be sucking a little bit more. But yeah, they're crucial for life after birth. Obviously, they need to suck, they need to grab for the breasts, and they need to be fed. Those are the two main big things that they need to do, is grab and suck, which sounds really dirty now that I said that way out loud. So I apologize. I apologize. Cortisol, if you don't know, cortisol is a stress hormone that is the main stress hormone. It is also tied with glucose, the sugar, the breakdown of like basically the sugar compartment in your body. But cortisol is the stress hormone that you have in your entire life. Is produced by the mother and the fetus as well. But in the third trimester, it has several important roles. As every good hormone in your body, it has a role. But if it is overstimulated or overproduced at all, it can have detrimental consequences. So if you have cortisol increase, where your cortisol just never goes down, then you will have chronic stressors. That's going to wear and tear on your body. But it also has good roles as well. So let's take a look. It helps mature the lungs by promoting the production of surfactant, as we were saying, enabling the baby to breathe better. It also influences the maturation of the liver, digestive, immune systems. It affects the mother by preparing her for labor, by causing changes like softening of the cervix, increasing uterine contractions. She might get something like Braxton Hicks contractions, which you might have heard of, which are basically these like phantom ghost contractions where the mother thinks she might be going into labor, but she's not. Elevated cortisol levels in the fetus can also trigger the production of other hormones that aid in the birth process as well. Now for the women. What are we doing for the women? Well, mom, there's a lot of things she can be doing. So routine screenings that are common in the third trimester. In the third trimester, everything is getting set up. Everything is almost ready. So they can expect several routine screenings and tests to ensure both maternal and fetal health. Gestational diabetes test. I don't know if you know someone that has been pregnant before. They have probably told you about their diabetes test because they basically have to drink this like really not great tasting liquid that is packed with glucose, and they have to see how their body reacts to it essentially. And it's a test to see if they have gestational diabetes, which is something that I'm really scared of getting because you can get that without having diabetes beforehand. Like when I was younger and I heard about that, I was like, oh, that's diabetes. You know, if you're diabetic and happen to be pregnant, that's gestational diabetes. No, you can go into pregnancy not being a diabetic and get gestational diabetes. That scared the heck out of me, man. I don't want diabetes. So if she's not screened yet, she can undergo a glucose test between about 24 to 28 weeks in the third trimester and check for gestational diabetes, and then they will work accordingly with that. Group B streptococcus screening. This is usually between weeks 35 and 37. You take a swab test from the vagina or rectum, which sounds very lovely, to check for GBS bacteria, which could cause infection during delivery. That's very important. Blood pressure check. This is very important. Blood pressure check is very, very important in pregnancy, especially since I believe your blood doubles. Your blood amount doubles approximately. Pregnant ladies, moms, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that doubles when you are pregnant. And your body and your heart are working overtime. So blood pressure is obviously going to go up. However, making sure that it does not stay high is high for a pregnant woman. If you have very high blood pressure, that can be a sign of preeclampsia, which is very dangerous and needs to be addressed as soon as possible. It is often kind of like, if you don't really understand preeclampsia, it's sort of like having an appendix where you really can't do much to reverse it, that I'm aware of for appendix, but you clearly can't do anything to reverse it, and the longer you wait, the worse it's going to get, because you need to have the fetus basically removed from, it's usually in the fallopian tube if it's a preeclampsia, removed from there, or it will burst and burst your fallopian tube, and that could kill the mother. Kind of like an appendix, if you wait too long, it will burst and usually have life-threatening bacteria and injuries to the person on whom it exploded. So absolutely, blood pressure check is very important. I highly recommend getting something like an Oura ring or something to help you routinely monitor your blood pressure, just to make sure that everything is looking okay. Urine test to check for protein, sugar, or other signs of infection, which can indicate preeclampsia or gestational diabetes. And fetal heartbeat. Of course, we gotta check the baby's heartbeat, because we now have 2 heartbeats, 2 bodies, 2 immune systems, 2 of everything, essentially. We're going to check the fetal heart rate to ensure the baby's well-being. For the ultrasound, in some cases, the 3rd trimester ultrasound may be performed to check the baby's position, growth, amniotic fluid levels, and placenta health. So we want to make sure that the baby is positioning in the correct way. If you want more information on ultrasound readings, on the ultrasound, basically verbiage, I do have a podcast episode on that out. That is also on the YouTube channel with pictures, and it tells you how to read an ultrasound. It's actually very interesting, and I had a lot of fun making it. I learned a lot too. But if you are interested in basically a very rudimentary FAQs, history and details on how to read an ultrasound, absolutely go check that out. I think it's all the importance of ultrasounds, how to read one, and the history and facts of it, or something like that. But it's the only one involving ultrasounds that I have out exclusively on that. But why is it especially important to do this? So monitoring the baby is a key way to track the baby's well-being. We obviously, if the baby has not been moving for a while, that could be a sign of something possibly being wrong, but that is not, I want to repeat, that is not a sure sign that something is wrong just because your baby has been quite still. They typically move less as they get larger, which, again, that's normal. It's okay if your baby is moving a little bit less. They're having less room. They're getting bigger. But a noticeable decrease in movement or significant change in patterns can indicate potential issues such as fetal distress or placental problems, which you should get checked out. If you're noticing your baby really has decreased in moving, I would absolutely just call up your physician. Even if they tell you you're fine, the baby's fine, you didn't need to call me, you get that peace of mind. You do you. You call if you need to. What changes in the movement might indicate? So if it's a decrease in movement, it could indicate issues like umbilical cord problems, infection, or placental insufficiency. My mouth is full of marbles today. Increased movement could suggest fetal distress. So if a woman is showing significant change, it's essential to contact a healthcare provider. Tips and exercises to work with, to help with common discomfort. You're going to be experiencing some back pain, some leg cramps, heartburn, and indigestion are very common in women that have this. The baby's uterus is pushing against the stomach, which can lead to acid reflux, which is where that heartburn, if you will, comes from. Frequent urination, I think everybody knows about that one. That's because the uterus is pressing on the bladder. The baby is getting a little bit bigger, so usually its elbow or its foot is kind of pushing on the bladder, making it smaller, or, increasing the urgency to go. Swelling, which is another word for that, is edema. Swelling of the feet, ankles, hands is common, especially in the later weeks. So if you notice people that have been friends that were pregnant, or maybe you were pregnant, you notice that your feet just started to balloon up. Yeah. Tips and exercises on how to do that. So pelvic tilts, cat-cow stretches to ease back pain. Basically, really slow yoga stretches are really good. I know yoga is a hot topic in the health and wellness industry. I'm fine with yoga as long as you're not actively praying to demons. I think you're fine if you do yoga, but I know people are going to give me hate for that, and they might unsubscribe or whatever, but that is my opinion. I think yoga is fine. I think with everything else, it is with the heart and mindset. But you can do pelvic tilts, cat-cow stretches. I think there's a lot of really good pelvic stretches, pelvic floor exercises to do throughout the entirety of pregnancy that I highly recommend you do. Leg stretches to prevent cramps. This can also help prevent blood clots as well, as you're getting a little bit more sedentary. Elevating the legs and wearing compression stockings to reduce swelling. That will also help with just the blood flow. Compression stockings are amazing. When I worked in healthcare, they saved my legs. I was the only person not complaining about my calves. I love those things. Eating smaller meals and avoiding certain sugar foods to reduce heartburn. Drinking plenty of water. Water is going to be extremely important, especially with that increased blood flow, to stay active with and help with frequent urination. Risk of complications, so basically gestational diabetes, we have talked about preeclampsia, we talked about preterm labor is a possibility. Women should always be aware of preterm labor. such as regular contractions, lower back pain, or leaking fluid. I recently learned this, so like I said, I really don't know that much about maternal health, but I recently learned this that when your water breaks, it's not always like the movies where it's just this giant water balloon, you know, style where it's like, boom, water out. So I have a friend and her water broke, and it was like that. It was just like this explosion of water immediately. It was crazy. But she also was saying that some people have a slow trickle of water. So if you have this steady stream of water flowing from your vaginal area, maybe you might be in labor, you might not be, but you should at least probably call somebody, is my professional, non professional opinion. Placental abruption, that sounds pretty scary. Painful bleeding may indicate that the placenta is detaching from the uterus permanently. Absolutely call somebody about that. That sounds extremely painful and awful. And I think I have a new fear unlocked now reading about that. I'm just like, sometimes when you read things and you talk about like, oh, these are common fears people have, or this is a common, stressor of women that they're worried this will happen to them. I'm usually like, that's a thing? I've never heard of that before. That's terrifying. Thank you for telling me about this thing I should now be on the lookout for. That's horrible. So, yeah, that's really fun. Healthcare is so fun. It's learning about all the different ways that you could possibly die. And it's looking at other people and going, wow, given your lifestyle and the way that you're living, I probably know how you're going to die. I used to be able to do that in nursing school. It was kind of scary. Emotional or mental changes in the third trimester. So emotional changes, you got obviously hormones are everywhere. Hormone fluctuations are going to be out throughout the entirety of pregnancy. Physical discomfort, anxiety about labor delivery can contribute to emotional ups and downs. Obviously, of course, some people have prenatal depression or anxiety. Absolutely talk to loved ones get help if you need to. Regular communication about emotional health is needed and necessary. So if usually women have a spouse or they have a parent or a friend that they can confide in, if they can't, talk to a medical professional for sure. Counseling or therapy is also an option for women just experiencing depression or anxiety. You can do this. Make sure you have a support system. Try, if you don't have one immediately, try and build one. Even if it's just a Facebook group of moms in your area that get together. I know there's, even the local cafes I go to, there's always a group of women that are about all the same age, and they have all of these babies, and they talk about motherhood and parenthood, and they encourage each other. And I love it. I'm not even in the group, and I'm like, this is encouraging to see women supporting women like this. So there are options for you. So even if you are completely alone, you are single, your husband is away a lot, or whatever your situation looks like, there are options for you, and I highly suggest that you tap into that if you are pregnant. Partner involvement, if you have a partner, ease mental stress. Absolutely get someone to hold your hand if possible. Anybody would love to hold your hand. Someone at your church. I have a really good friend, she's a doula. If I didn't have anybody in my life and Nathan was in the Navy or something and my parents were really far away or dead or something, then I would probably call her and she would hold my hand while I was pregnant. So we're looking at dietary recommendations in the third trimester. Obviously, throughout the whole trimester, we want to focus on a balanced diet, lower sugars, all of that. Folate, calcium, protein, iron, and fiber. Small frequent meals in this final trimester, but frequent is the main thing. You don't want your stomach to get empty. You want to increase those iron-rich foods to prevent anemia, which is very common in the third trimester. Consume healthy fats like avocados, omega-3s. Those are great for brain development. For your lifestyle, just with your day-to-day activities, avoid excessive weight gain and maintain a healthy weight. I know that is the $1,000,000 question with women of, how to do that and how to do that healthily. I can't personally speak into that, but usually avoiding a ton of sugar is a very good place to start. I know that sometimes just, I would not stress out. Honestly, I would really advise someone to not get overly worried about the weight they're gaining, because ultimately you can go back and lose it. You can walk it off, you can eat healthy, you can go back to your normal body, but at the end of the day, your body is creating a human being. So how big your waistline is really irrelevant, to be honest with you. And anyone that's judging you on how fast you bounce back is a jerk, and they aren't worth your time or your energy. Because to be completely honest with you, I've never, ever in my life looked at a pregnant woman and been like, wow, she gained a lot of weight. I wonder how fast she's going to lose that off. Like, ever. Like, you can compliment women when they lose weight and they go back to the weight that they were before they got pregnant, and you can go, wow, you look great. Like, obviously you can encourage women when they're doing great and they go back to a healthy weight, but like, your body just had a baby. Like, it's It's creating a human being. It did the most labor-intensive process it will ever do in its entire life. Just chill. Don't put that kind of pressure on your body to bounce back super fast. It's not healthy. It's been shown to be a very big stressor on the body. It's not healthy to do that. Take a break. You're having to change your whole schedule, especially if it's your first baby. You're having to change your whole schedule, your sleeping routine. A huge chapter in your life has begun. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay if your waistline is not the way it was before you got pregnant. It's not going to be, and that's okay, because you were growing a freaking human being. That's why. So, anyway, it's okay. Maintain a healthy weight as much as you can, but don't sweat it. Seriously. Regular exercise, such as walking or swimming, can help reduce back pain and swelling, improve circulation. Obviously, that will be limited as you get bigger and you grow bigger, but it's okay. Sleep and rest are essential, especially in the coming weeks of the baby. Obviously, use pillows to support the body for better sleep quality. I know a lot of women have those sleep pillows that go around them that help lift up the stomach. Husbands notoriously hate these pillows, but guess what? Your husband doesn't have to carry a human being all the time, pushing on your bladder and making them nauseous and tired and swollen. So your husband can deal with it. Lovingly deal with it. So the baby's stomach can be supported by a pillow. Avoid alcohol, obviously tobacco, prescribed medications. A lot of women try and avoid medications as possible throughout their pregnancy. I definitely will if I ever become pregnant. I would try my best to I try that anyway, honestly. It's very rare that I take medication for anything, but I am also blessed with no chronic illnesses or disabilities. So basically, in prenatal care, ensuring a smooth delivery as we are wrapping up all of this. Prenatal care helps monitor the health of the mother and the baby. Just make sure that you regularly visit your primary care physician, track any changes in your health, and address any concerns you have, even if it seems really small. It might not be small, it might be connected to something else, and it might be small. It might look at you and go, oh yeah, that's nothing. And then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to lay awake at night and go, oh my gosh, what if that was something really big and I missed something? Ask her all your questions, ask all the stupid questions you want, and detect potential complications early if you do. There's really no con to asking all your random questions. Routine screenings, like the blood pressure checks and the urine checks and all of that, help catch gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, things like that can help, or anemia, things like that potentially. And prenatal education about labor and delivery is very important. I am a huge proponent of education, kind of rules out fear. The more information you have, the less fearsome you can be more confident. So even if you know that there is, hazards or things to be aware of, or, oh, this is going to cause pain, you know it in advance. And I know in some ways that sounds like, oh, that's worse because I know I'm going to be in pain, but you have a plan. In my anxiety-ridden mind, I love to know what's coming. I am a huge planner in everything in life. So I personally love to have a birthing plan. And then I would have a backup birthing plan and possibly even a backup birthing plan, because almost nothing in life goes as you planned it to be. Anyone that has planned a wedding would absolutely know that. Nothing in the wedding goes 100% as planned. We had a photographer miss a couple of photos in my wedding. We were performing the tango at my wedding reception, and I realized that it wasn't in the closet, the coat hanger thing with my other bags and things. And so I had to get our wedding coordinator to run out to the house we were staying at and grab it. I'm like, it's in the closet, it's right there. So I was sitting and eating the whole reception please get my dress. So not everything goes according to plan, and that's okay. That is okay. So childbirth will be the same way. Not everything go according to plan. Develop a plan for yourself. Let yourself be flexible. Trust God. Pray. It's going to be okay. You are stronger than you think. Remember that your body was literally built to do this, and that the Lord has allowed this to happen in your life for a reason, that He will sustain you and that He will give you strength. You are going to do great. If you're pregnant, you're going to do great. If you're not pregnant and you just wanted to listen and be educated, you're gonna do great if you ever have kids. Thank you for listening. This was really fun to do, and I love this series, and we will get back to our regularly scheduled content. I might drop a question box or two in the Instagram this upcoming week of new content topics and what you guys want to hear first, but I really want to jump into relationship health. I want to jump into raw milk. I want to jump into all sorts of things. So let me know what you guys want to hear. As always, please like and subscribe. Comment below what you thought of this episode and if you liked it. If you're on the YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you're on Spotify, please add this podcast to your library. Follow us and like it, comment it, rate it. Please give us a 5-star review. This is literally just me, guys. I do the research, I record, I edit. I know that's painfully obvious, but I'm a travel agent, I am a stay-at-home wife. This is something I do and I love it. It's my labor of love and I absolutely adore it, but it's a lot of work. So those reviews really help. They help get the word out there and hopefully will get me sponsorships at some point. So thank you so, so much, guys. I hope you have an amazing week and I will see you back next Monday for health and hot topics.